You know, one of the things that parents often complain about with schools is that the school is not welcoming. Matter of fact, when they get one of those surveys, there's always that question that says, "My school is welcoming to me," and they mark no, not ever, never. That's not good. Well, there's stuff that you can do to make sure that your culture is welcoming to parents of all the students. So let's talk about that for a minute, because a lot of times one of the things that a classroom teacher has the ability to do is to return communication. So let's say, for example, that the parent reaches out to the teacher and doesn't hear back, and they do it either by phone call or they do it by email. Well, a day goes by, 2 days go by, and there's still no response, and so they send out another one and just say, "Hey, I was wondering if my email got lost in the mail," or my phone call got lost, or maybe I sent the wrong place, but I just need to meet with you about Steve. Have you got a minute? And another day goes by, and another day goes by, maybe even a week and a half goes by, and they still hear nothing. Well, you know what's going to happen there. Now, if there was any anger before, there's a lot now, and it's probably going to go up the chain, and then, and somebody's going to force a meeting to happen and stuff like this. Return emails and phone calls, and even if the person's upset, it's so much better to go ahead and do that than to ignore. The next thing that can really hurt the culture of your school about whether it's welcoming to parents or not is that you insist on only responding in email. The parent leaves a message or sends you an email, and you respond in email, and they respond back in email, and you respond back in email, and they respond back in email, and eventually the heat gets turned up just a little bit, because they're like, first of all, they might think that you're sending them some kind of negative tone through the words you use, or because you capitalize something. That's not good. But it's not only that. What should happen as the classroom teacher is you should offer to meet them face to face. And what it does is, number one, is it gets rid of the email problem of tone, but it also allows you to connect with the parent. You set up the meeting and you seem like a real person, not somebody that should just be mad at, or you never know, you may solve it that much faster just simply because they're with you in person. So try not to just stick with email to try and solve something. And the last one I have for you is, and this is a biggie, because I want to ask you, if you're talking about being welcoming to parents, do you force parents to go through some sort of bureaucracy in order to meet with teachers? And when I say you, your school does it, or the counseling office does it. And basically what I'm talking about here is that parent calls you or sends you an email and you say, "Steve, I'd love to meet with you, but the requirement here is that you must call the counseling office and say that you want to meet with me, and then they'll schedule a meeting with you, me, and the counselor, and they'll do it at a convenient time for all of us." The problem with that is that whatever the problem is that you may draw it out 2 days, 5 days, a week and a half, 2 weeks, and now suddenly a little bitty problem becomes a very big problem. And if there was no angst before, there's probably mega angst now. So you got to do away with bureaucracy like that. Tell your school that this is your school administration. This is not a good thing. We shouldn't do this because the parent just wants to meet with me. And how can we make that happen in a faster amount of time? So, just thinking through some things here, if you want to help make your school inviting to parents, is that make sure that you respond to their communications. Number two, make sure that you don't just respond in email. Make sure that you take time to say, "Hey, how about we meet together face to face?" And finally, don't create bureaucracy that forces the meeting to be drawn out over time. Just some food for thought.